This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at the Acer Iconia W3. This is the first 8-inch Windows tablet on the market. This is full Windows, not Windows RT. Windows 32-bit running on Atom CPU, so everything you could do with a Windows machine, in theory, you can do with this. Is it true? We're going to check it out now. So here it is, Acer's 8-inch, actually 8.1-inch Windows tablet. This is running Windows 8 32-bit because it's an Intel Atom CPU, and Intel Atom CPUs are 32-bit CPUs, so no 64-bit Windows here for you. Inside, you're looking at the same thing that we saw in the Acer W510, which is a 10.1-inch Windows tablet, and there are other competing models. Obviously, they've had the Intel Atom CPU that we've reviewed, quite a few, in fact, including the HP Envy X2. So it's equally as powerful as those 10 to 11.6-inch tablets that we've looked at, just compressed into a smaller form factor. You could use it just as easily in portrait mode if you want. In fact, you can see we have our start button down here as if they thought you might actually be using it more often like this. Webcam is up top right there. And it weighs 1.1 pounds, so that's a bit heavier than competing mobile OS tablets that are 8 inches, like the iPad Mini or the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 or the Samsung Galaxy Tab 3 8-inch model, but not too heavy still. It's about a ½ inch thick. This is not super duper thin. You've got to fit more internals in here. There is no cooling fan. The Atom doesn't need a cooling fan, but still there's heat sinks in here, there's RAM slots, there's all the stuff that make up a Windows PC. Nothing going on this side, as you can see. This, which would be the bottom side if you're holding it in portrait mode, you've got stereo speakers right there. That's our charging hole right there, and this is the 3.5mm audio jack. Right here we have a micro SD card slot compatible with SDXC cards, your volume controls, power button on this side, and this little notch here is for, well, we'll show you what that's for a little bit later. And we have a micro USB port. This is USB host. Now some models will come with USB host micro to full-size adapter, some won't. So you might have to go out and find your own. And then you can use any USB peripheral that you can use with Windows PC. It's USB 2.0 port right here. So if you have a 3G modem, for example, keyboards, mice, hard drives, CD-ROM drives, DVD drives, stuff which you might want to use to install software, that's what that's good for. And we have micro HDMI. So these itsy-bitsy ports are more like what we'd see on a mobile OS tablet, like an Android tablet, because, well, there's really not much room to put full-size ports on something this small. The back has silver finish that's not metal, though. It looks kind of similar, same aesthetic as Acer's bigger tablets, the P3 that we reviewed recently, now called the Spire, and there was the Acer Iconia W7. That one actually was made of metal, so a difference there, but aesthetically I would say it's pretty much the same. There's a little bit of a curve on the back, which is a good thing. It makes it a little bit more comfortable to hold. It doesn't feel bad in hands at all. It doesn't get hot. Atom CPUs just generally don't do that. And you can see we've got a camera on the back. It's 2 megapixel cameras, so not super high, but and this little privacy light that lights up there so people know if you're going to be filming them in the locker room, don't do that. So you've got 2 megapixels in the front and 2 megapixels in the back. Optionally, you can get a Bluetooth keyboard dock, and it's not a teeny-weeny one because they figure if you're using Windows you might really want to do some serious typing, and that's $70. And we have that right over here. And it kind of turns into what looks like a kitchen appliance almost. It reminds me of one of Samsung's tablet docks. So you can see that it's bigger than the tablet itself. Gives you more like the experience of a 10.1 to 11-inch kind of keyboard. And it's not too bad to type on. It's not going to be backlit. This is battery-powered Bluetooth keyboard. So as a keyboard goes, it's not too bad. Reasonable key travel, not super duper, not too bad to type on. And we've got a little groove right here. This is rubbery stuff, so it holds onto the tablet. It's just pretty much gravity keeping it in place, and that little notch right there. So you can't go dancing around the room with this. You might drop it after all, but it's sturdy enough for this kind of use. Pretty much you're only going to get one angle. It's just going to sit like that also, but it's a fairly good usable angle. I can see why Acer picked that. But the interesting thing is, well, first I'll just show you. Here's the full keyboard, so all the keys that you would need are there. We've got indicator lights for Bluetooth pairing and power on. There's a little power on switch over here. There's a pairing button, pretty easy to use. The batteries, AAA batteries go in here, 2 of them. But notice this interesting kind of cutout, right? And I wonder what that could be for. That's so you can carry your tablet clipped to the back of the keyboard. My goodness, the folks at Acer really have creative minds, because I really haven't seen anybody do something like that before. So that little notch that I mentioned that we've got over here, that's going to notch into a little release clip that we have right there. So we stick it in here where it pokes into our speaker holes, which is okay. It's not going to exceed into the grill. And we have this little latch right here, locks it in place. So this is how you carry your tablet and your keyboard. Interesting, isn't it? But it kind of works. And it protects the screen, obviously, too. So sturdy, it's not going to fall out. You might want a case just to protect the keys when you're carrying this in your bag. So that's what your $70 keyboard dock looks like. Not included, you got to pay that separately. Now for the tablet itself, our little friend embedded right here, it's available in two versions. The 32 gigs of storage model is $379. The 64 gig is $429. You really don't want the 32 gigs of storage model because there's hardly any room left to install programs. This isn't like your Android tablet where programs are pretty small. This is full Windows, so some programs can take up a lot of space. I'd say you really want to get that 64 gigs, so you're looking at $429. That said, you're not far off the price of a Samsung Galaxy Note 8 tablet, which is $399, so not too bad on the price. Sold optionally is Acer's case for this. It has kind of a metallic finish, not bad looking, a little bit less like a leisure suit for your tablet than some of their previous cases. Little cutout on the back for the camera, and this is translucent plastic holder, so you can put the tablet in and then set it up like so, and we'll give that a try. Snaps in fairly tight, gives you access to all ports, gets the job done. Works fine like that. Obviously primarily designed to be used in landscape mode with that case. You could try to do it like that, but it's not really going to give you much stability, so you probably don't want to do that. Obviously you can flip the cover back though and hold it like this. It's a nice soft touch material in here, so it's not going to damage your screen. And again, this is another optional accessory. The charger, which is included, is a compact wall wart charger, so very light. This is not going to take up too much room in your bag. No complaints there. Can't charge it via micro USB because it uses the standard laptop style barrel connector for charging right here. So what do we have inside? You can see right here, here's our Windows Experience Index. On PC Mark 7, this actually scored 1436, which puts it at the upper end of Intel Atom tablets right now. This runs on the Z2760. That's a dual-core Atom CPU. Sorry, we're not at Bay Trail just yet. Has 2 gigs of RAM, and again, 32 or 64 gigs of eMMC-style storage. That's flash storage, yes, but it's not SATA because this version of Atom does not support SATA interface, so the storage subsystem is not as fast as the SSD drives on Ultrabooks. You can see our scores here for the processor, 3.5, memory, 4.7, graphics for desktop, 3.6, gaming graphics, 3.2, primary hard disk, which is that flash storage, is 5.6. Like all Intel Atom tablets that we've seen so far running Windows 8, this is not going to be a gaming machine. Now, you could probably install a 3-4-year-old game that wasn't hugely graphically demanding and get by with it, but that's not what this is going to be good at. And obviously, the screen's probably a little bit small for anything other than casual games. Casual games, those things from the Windows Store, Bejeweled, that sort of stuff, that's going to run just fine. See our screen here is touchscreen, 5 points of multi-touch. This looks kind of nice, doesn't it? It's not a horrible display. It's 1280 by 800 resolution, and right now we're at 125% scaling on the desktop. And actually the icons and things, it's all fairly readable. The bad thing is the display has grain. It's a very bright display. Colors are not too bad. Viewing angles are, I've seen worse. It's better than your average TN panel, certainly, but the grain makes it look sort of like the surface is scintillating a little bit, and that reduces your sense of clarity, particularly when you're looking at text. If you're looking at a photograph, it might not be so bad, especially if you're not sitting close, but yeah, that's one thing. If you see it in person, you might just say, oh, that's a little too grainy for me. And I don't know why that is, because this is a glossy display. It doesn't have some kind of matte coating on it. A little bit weird, that. This is typical Windows 8, so you can do all of this kind of stuff. You're not going to get the split screen effect because the resolution is actually too low on it, but everything else is straight Windows 8. You get all your live tile apps. Acer preloads a bunch of stuff here. We've got Kindle, we've got shortcuts to Amazon, Stumbled Upon. A lot of these are just web shortcuts, not even full applications. They have their own camera app installed on here, News Espresso, Newsreader. Evernote's preloaded on it, and all the standard Windows apps. Now, everything in the live tile UI is quite fast. The news obviously is going to depend on the internet connection. We have single band 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi there. Sad news of the airplane crash showing right now in our news. You can see the speed at which it does things. And the UI is very easy to use, even at 8 inches at this size. And again, you're going to be waiting on the CPU once in a while, but it's fairly usable overall when you're in the Windows 8 Live Tile Metro UI. Now, if you're here, things are going to be a little bit slower. Mostly it's when you're installing applications. It takes about 4 times longer to install apps. But once you've got them up and running, they're not too bad. And right now we actually have a couple apps running. We have IE running, Word, and Excel. Now Microsoft has said they've made Office 2013, the Home and Student Edition, which is Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and OneNote, available to manufacturers if they want to include it for free on the 7 and 8-inch Windows tablets. And Acer at Computex showed this off and said they were including it. That said, it was not on our review unit. We installed it ourselves, but what you get in the box, let's hope, since they said that you're getting it, that you will indeed get Office, because that would really be a nice economic boost to this product right here, not having to spend extra money for Office. Now, if you need Outlook, you're going to have to supply your own version, because the Student and Home Edition doesn't include Outlook. Right now we've got these apps running right here. We're looking at sample documents, and certainly it's perfectly usable. If you want to type with the on-screen keyboard, there it is. It's one of the better features actually of Windows 8. It has a great on-screen keyboard. And with Windows 8.1, you'll actually be able to press and hold to get alternate characters like numbers as well. So pretty roomy. Obviously it's going to obscure some of your screen while you're typing there. You might want to use an external Bluetooth keyboard. And for Excel, you can see here's a sample spreadsheet. How much you can see on here. It's fairly usable given the resolution. And also we can switch between these and do work, and the speed's going to be just fine for using Office, which I think is going to be one of the selling points for this compared to a mobile OS tablet like Android or the iPad, the fact that you can use full Office, not a limited version, all features right here. Touch targets are pretty small, but it's not the end of the world, not too difficult right here for something like the close box, but once in a while fine coordination can be difficult. And here we've got our web browser opening to our own page, and this is IE, the desktop version. Obviously, by now you know there's also a Metro version that runs full screen. And since this is full Windows, you've got Flash Player here. You can install whatever plugins you want, no problem at all. And we'll check out streaming video playback. We'll play a YouTube video of ours, video review of the Samsung Galaxy S4 Active. You'll get to hear the speakers, which are small but pretty loud. And we'll try to use the touch controls to bring that out to full screen.
This is Lisa from Mobile Tech. Buttons. I suppose it was easier for them to see.
Alright, so now we've got it running full screen.
This isn't the device.
Speakers aren't too bad.
It even has an underwater mode to enhance shooting there, and when you use that, it's going to warn you that the
Our volume is at 95% right now, so that gives you an idea. But it doesn't distort or blow out, which is pretty cool. So you can play streaming video on this, and obviously you can put Netflix on here, watch Amazon Prime Video. Since it's full Windows, you don't have to worry about actually having an app for that. So who's the Acer W3 up against? Well, tablets like this. This is Samsung Galaxy Note 8.0. There are other 8-inch Android tablets. There's obviously the iPad mini. This guy is going to be a bit lighter. This is 12 ounces versus 1.1 pounds, and it's going to be a bit thinner. As you know, the price is actually pretty close there, so that's not an issue. And they both have the same resolution displays, too. Now you're going to get a higher resolution back camera on your Samsung Galaxy Note 8, and same thing with the iPad mini. The thing is, it really depends on what you want to do with your tablet. Honestly, in day-to-day use, both Android tablets like the Galaxy Note 8 and the iPad are much quicker to use the UI. You're never going to wait for everything. You're never going to say, oh my God, software takes so long to install. And I've launched 3 programs at once, and now it's kind of bogging down. That is something that could happen with this guy right here. For our Iconia W3, given the Atom CPU and 2 gigs of RAM, I would say you don't really want to run more than 3 serious applications at once. I don't mean like a little Twitter app running in the background. I mean you've got Word, you've got Excel, you've got your web browser. Maybe you want to throw in Photoshop. At that point, you might start to see some lag. So keep it down to about 3 apps or so. And as I noted, installing software and installing OS updates on this, kind of slow compared to most computers that you're used to. But once they're on there, it's actually quite fine and usable. If you intend to mostly stay here in the Metro Live Tile UI, things are pretty sprightly indeed. It's not too bad at all. The question is, given how new the whole Metro experience is, and the fact there aren't that many apps, how many of you are going to be spending that much time in Metro? Now the good news is it has really good battery life. In general, Intel Atom Windows 8 tablets do have good battery life, but this is an unusually large battery for something this small, 6,800 milliamps. That's pretty darn good, and Acer claims up to 8 hours use on a charge in normal use with brightness set at about 50%. And this is a fairly bright display, so that's not difficult to run at 50%. With Wi-Fi on, I've actually been seeing it do about 7 hours, 7, sometimes even 8 hours. So it competes well, actually, with something like the Galaxy Note 8 there and some other Android tablets that are smaller, even the Nexus 7, which depends on what you're doing, but it isn't super stellar in terms of battery life. So that's a nice feature on this guy. If you want to turn this into more of a mobile workstation, maybe use it with that optional Bluetooth keyboard that I just showed you, or your own keyboard, you can use the micro HDMI out to plug this into an HDMI monitor to get work done, which is pretty handy too. Something that you really can't do with a mobile OS tablet if you need to run Windows-compatible applications. There is obviously no built-in Ethernet. You'd have to use a USB Ethernet adapter if you needed wired networking. But it does obviously have Bluetooth that works with that Bluetooth keyboard and anything else Bluetooth that you've got. Here in the US, there is no 3G or 4G option, so you're looking at Wi-Fi only. So there it is, the Acer Iconia W3. It's available now. And who is this product for? Anybody who needs Windows and wants it in the smallest package as possible. Gee, it would be nice if there was Intel Core CPUs in this, something faster, but right now the technology isn't there. Bay Trail isn't even available yet, which is the next generation of Atom, which should show some considerable improvements here. But still, for those of you who need your Windows apps and just need to have the thing actually literally pocketable, your sysadmin, whatever it is, this will get the job done. It won't be the sharpest knife in the drawer, it won't be the fastest, but it actually is usable. It manages to be stable with several Windows apps running, and you can use all of your Windows peripherals with this because it is full Windows. So that's the Acer Iconia W3, our first Windows 8 tablet to hit the market. Certainly the price is pretty good, fairly affordable, decent Bluetooth keyboard option. The question is, do you need Windows in an 8-inch form factor? I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to visit our website for the full review, and don't forget to hit that like button.